Hey everybody, welcome back to Film Artsy. I'm your guy, 𝘨𝘪𝘏𝘮𝘀, and today we're talking about episode 1 of The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is the new Star Wars animated series and this new, long, immense run of new Star Wars shows that we're going to get. I think it's like 10 or 11. It's a ton of shows, and I'm really excited about it because it seems like they realized the sequel trilogy didn't go well. It wasn't great, and I mean, honestly, the best you could say was it was diverse. There's varying opinions, but most people agree that wasn't the way moving forward. And then, lo and behold, we got The Mandalorian, and it really set Disney back on track. Now, Disney is super pumped and excited about Star Wars, once again, releasing about 10 new shows in the upcoming who knows how many years. The new show that just released, I believe it dropped on May the 4th, they released The Bad Batch, episode 1 and 2. Episode 1 is a little bit more like a movie. It's 75 minutes long, and we're here today to break down that episode for you. Just so you're aware, there will be spoilers because honestly, talking about a single episode without spoilers is kind of like, what do you want, a 30-second long video, or do you want me to actually get into detail of what's going on? So, without further ado, let's get started. Episode 1 kicks off with a specialized troopers group called Clone Force 99. This is kind of this typical cliche group. I feel like we've seen this a lot of times before, and I'm not necessarily knocking them for this, but I didn't necessarily resonate with what they did here, where the task force really consists of the clear leader, which is Hunter, right? And then you got the smart dude who loves tech and is brilliant, and that's literally the guy named Tech. And then you got the heavy duty dude whose name is Wrecker. I mean, these names are a little on the nose, right? Come on. And then we got the cyborg fella who's a little bit more, because he's actually a reg. He's not a specialized clone or enhanced clone, which we'll get into later. His name is Echo. And then we have our elite sniper, who's kind of, nitty gritty, a little mysterious, named Crosshair. The episode starts with a group of clone troopers and a Jedi and her Padawan in a pretty dire situation. You don't necessarily feel all those emotions, but they're basically saying, if we don't get backup, this is not going to end well. The Padawan shows back up with, apparently the direction that he went was clearly safe, so I'm not sure if the situation was dire because they were losing or they were going to have to retreat, but the Padawan does come back. They're like, hey, did you get anybody? And the Padawan's like, yeah, I got 5. That's typically not good news, especially with the situation that they're communicating, but apparently it's this 5, the Clone Force 99 5, and yes, it's all you need in this situation. This really frames up the ability of this group. They come in, and with minimal difficulty, they wipe the floor of these droids. They take down these tanks. It's kind of a fun scene where they're just rigmaroling around, blasting, shooting, hacking tech, and they dismantle this threat. This scene was really used to set up the Bad Batch. Now, I thought the Bad Batch was more indicating that they're like bad, like they're, oh, those guys are so bad. I find out later that there's more to that, but it does really establish that they are a specialized task force that are clearly more enhanced than the average clone trooper. Now, this show takes a twist, not necessarily a twist, but it really kicks off right away, which I liked. It didn't give us a lot of time to kind of settle in. It was like buckle up for some intensity. Shortly after that battle, that Order 66 gets initiated by Emperor Palpatine. So all of a sudden, this Bad Batch is looking around. These clone troopers turn their blasters onto the Jedi that literally just asked for their help, that they just saved. And they straight up kill her. Bye-bye, Jedi 𝘨𝘪𝘭𝘮𝘵. Her name was very abracadabra-y. Sorry, but it was like, oh, she's dead. And now they're going after this Padawan who's freaked out because he doesn't know what's going on. The Bad Batch doesn't know what's going on either, which we learn more about that later. And they pursue the Padawan, and he leaps off the edge, and the leader lies to his fellow Crosshair compadre that the Padawan died when he tried to jump across the cliff. All in all, the Bad Batch crew is confused. They don't know why the clone troopers betrayed the Jedi. They know about this order that the Jedi made this attempt on Emperor Palpatine, or I guess Chancellor Palpatine's life at that moment in time. So they head back to base, which is on Kamino, and a lot of things are pretty screwy. They see Coruscant guards that aren't really supposed to be there. They ask what's going on. They're saying the war is over, General Grievous is dead, and the Jedi are wiped out. So it's one of those moments where you just go, what? What's happening? What's going on? And they're really confused, which if you don't know anything, I came into the show not really knowing much about what it was about. I quickly learned that they are different than these regular troopers. It's pretty apparent that there's something distinct about them. You find out, and they start talking about the regs, so I guess the regs are the normal clones, and the the people for Camino, the people made a Camino who weren't enhanced or changed like they were, apparently have codes ingrained into their DNA, which made them execute this Order 66 that they did not execute. One moment that I really liked is all the troopers get called into this big shuttle bay. I mean, it's just lines of troopers, and then this little splash of the Bad Batch. They're all there, and Emperor Palpatine comes on up. And what was so cool about it is he starts saying the lines that you hear from the actual Chancellor Senate room in episode 3, same exact lines. I believe the same voice. It sounded the same. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But it sounded exactly the same. And it just really brought back a lot of nostalgia for me. It was really cool to see those lines be tied into this scene where the troopers are all like, yes, this is great. It shows how quick everything changed. It was literally a matter of, 24 hours? Hey everybody, before we continue the review of the Bad Batch episode 1, I just want to highlight that we have a really cool Instagram that we update on a regular basis with all things entertainment. If you love Marvel, DC, Star Wars, or whatever else in Hollywood, this is the Instagram for you. So go follow filmartsy on Instagram right now. Now back to the video. Now we got General Tarkin entering the scene. He shows up to the Camino cloner dudes, and he's starting to complain about this contract that they got with the people of Camino. He's like, I'm not so sure I like these clones. And the Camino people are like, but if you're gonna start an empire, you definitely need clones. And General Tarkin's like, yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe we can just hire people and stuff. Yeah, that's what he's saying. And the Camino cloners are trying to stress to him, okay, well, let's prove that these clones are definitely worth the investment. We hop over and we get to a scene where the crew meets this little girl, and we'll find out more about later, but she's pretty significant. This is a little moment where Wrecker's struggling with the reality that he might have been made to be strong, and so all of his likes or interests are also what they made him to be, which they don't really sit on that point, but I really like that narrative, that storyline of a trooper becoming aware that who they are might be just who they've been designed to be, and wrestling with that are they actually who it's an interesting internal struggle, but it's an animated show and I don't feel like we're gonna get that, but that would be a movie or show where that's what I thought they were gonna do with Finn in the sequel trilogy, and they don't. They just they ruined to me. Rest in peace, potential sequel trilogy. During this lunch scene though, where Wrecker's kind of having this just really struggling with his own self-identity, the regs show up and they're like, get out of here, you Bad Batch. Oh, got it. Okay, so in the regs' eyes, these guys are like lab rats. They're like experiments gone wrong. They're the Bad Batch, which, okay, I get that now. I didn't know regs had that much personality, but they don't like him apparently. And apparently the regulars can be jerks, because that's like it was like a high school scene, like, get out of the way, genetically modified trash, and they're like, no, and they literally get in a food/full-out brawl. During this brawl, one of the Bad Batch gets injured, and they all learn that they are defective clones, so meaning that the order did indeed not take effect in them, hence why they're so confused. They go to be reprimanded by General Tarkin after initiating this big lunch fight sequence, all to find out that General Tarkin wants to see them in action in a battle test. The battle test kicks off with just normal standard safety precaution, safe mode and the holodeck in Star Trek. Not really difficult for the Bad Batch, and they show that they can handle that with little to no problem. General Tarkin's like, bro, this ain't even difficult. Camino dudes, let live fire happen. And Camino's like, no, we can't do that. Live fire would damage our training arena and potentially our clothes. General Tarkin's like, I don't care, girl, let's see it happen. One little moment, maybe I'm critiquing the animation too much, but apparently it's super dark troopers, which I know they're not dark troopers, but these giant troopers come out of the ground and they just start wailing blazers on these people. I mean, it goes from 0 to 100 like that, and I kind of just sit there and wonder, have those troopers been down there the whole time? And what was the reason for them to be there? Safety, security, I don't know, but there they are, and they're giving the Bad Batch a run for their money. But once again, we've realized that these enhanced clones clearly are a little bit more resourceful than the average troopers, and they eventually figure out a way to overcome these live-firing, actually dangerous robots in the training simulation and defeat them. And it actually gives us one of the cooler scenes in episode 1, where Hunter throws up his knife to Crosshair, and Crosshair shoots that knife straight to the head of a droid, and it was super cool. Even Wrecker's like, wow. Which, does anyone explain why Wrecker has an accent? How is that possible? That literally just hit me. How could he ain't even been to Australia. It's an Australian accent, right? I'm gonna let it go. All right. Let's just say, after their little impressive victory, General Tarkin was like, this was really intriguing to him. But he's still concerned about their loyalty. This was maybe my main complaint about episode 1. You got this bad batch of troopers, which even the name is kind of weird, that they're in a happy accident, like they're enhanced, but they lose their loyalty. But then you got the troopers who aren't enhanced, but they have loyalty. And General Tarkin's like, we want loyal people, but we don't want the clones. The 𝑘mitter cloner's like, don't you want loyal people? Yes, but better loyal people. Well, what about these enhanced people? I like the enhanced people, but they ain't loyal. What about the clones? Well, they ain't good enough. I guess they're loyal. So I just feel like General Tarkin had access to what he needed with the clones, and this narrative that there's something super stronger and greater than the clones out there, but you can keep making these people. You can keep making them. And they're like, well, what about the money? Does the Empire not have a lot of money? Did the Empire, for Pete's sake, they build a freaking moon that blows up planets? What? The finance is clearly not the issue here. So I'm a little confused about General Tarkin's like mixed wants. He wants loyal, but he wants enhanced, but he doesn't want the clones, but he wants these people, but they're not like these boys ain't loyal. That's basically General Tarkin. We also find out during the sequence that General Tarkin was told by one of the members of the Bad Batch that Padawan was lied about. He indeed did get away, and they lied that he had died. We find out this is Crosshair. I was kind of hoping that there's like a dangling thread of like a bigger twist behind the scenes. That's not the case. So there's me overcomplicating things. So General Tarkin gives the Bad Batch a mission towards the end of this episode. This is a way for them to prove their loyalty, although I don't know if they necessarily know that, but they've been tasked with going to this planet to take down a group of insurgents, which on paper, that case file seems pretty standard for what the troopers have been doing. Yet when they get there, things are not quite what they seem. They find out that there's women, children, and like farmers. So Hunter's like, no, we ain't doing this. And Crosshair's like, continue the mission. And I don't know why no one else in the Bad Batch is realizing that clearly Crosshair is struggling with the coded order. I mean, they've been with the dude long enough, and they've been on a ton of missions. Has he always displayed this strict adherence to order? Until now, it's the Order 66 thing is overriding him. And even Omega, the little girl, who is an interesting plot point, I'm not sure where that's going, she knows this, and she doesn't tell anyone else. Like, why wouldn't you? Come on, girl, what are you doing? These people are at each other's throats. She even sits down with Crosshair here in a second and says, I know you're gonna do it, but don't. And doesn't think to mention, oh, by the way, Crosshair, he was actually struggling his coding. That makes him a lot more likable. You're not mad at Crosshair because he's clearly battling the internal. He's actually having a battle. He actually is winning that battle by adhering to what Hunter's asked him to do, even though the Order 66 says, do orders, do them now. Kill the Jedi, kill the people, anybody gets the Empire, kill them. After this mission failed, they go back to the ship or Camino or wherever they're going, and they get captured, put in the prison. They find Omega in that prison cell, which is a convenient plot point. They take Crosshair away and reprogram him to become a baddie, which I guess is what Tarkin wants, is he wants enhanced clones that are loyal. And I think he's pursuing whether that's actually possible. So maybe that's where the confliction is coming. I just think this could be a numbers game, though. Like, if you have 6 billion clones and all the resources that Empire has, and the Rebels have only as many as they can reproduce, I feel like eventually you tip the scales, right? But so much for numbers logic. That's not what we're here for. They break out of the prison cell, and it comes to this really interesting sequence right at the end where you see Crosshair. He's clearly been fully converted to staunch, loyal trooper to the Empire, and Hunter and his Echo and Wrecker and Tech and Omega hightail it out of there. and they're going to J19, which I don't know what that is. I'm purposely keeping myself a little bit in the dark, so as I go on this journey with you guys, I don't know every next step of the way. All I know is we got these defective clones who are against the order. They have some kind of morality that they're battling with, and now they're trying to determine what to do next. And then we have this interesting plot point of Omega, which seems like Disney's kind of doubling down the whole big, awesome fighter dude finds little kids, like, little kid, I'll take care of you. And Star Wars, because that's Mandalorian, right? That's what Mandalorian is. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. And if you want to see more of these reviews, or there's some things that you think need to be noted that I haven't noted, please drop down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, thanks for watching.